What's up, y'all? It's your boy Ace. This is Fantasized Football. We are back once again, bringing y'all some more fantasy football content for the 2021 fantasy football season. And today, we are here with some more individual player analysis. And the player we're going to be talking about today is Darren Waller, tight end of the Las Vegas Raiders. But before we get into that real quick, I did want to say shout out to each and every one of you watching this video, listening to this podcast. Means the world to me. All the love and support, seriously. And if you're new, thanks for coming by, giving me a little bit of your time. I really hope you do enjoy the content. If you do, make sure to leave a like on the video, drop a comment down below. It really helps with the algorithm to get the content seen by more people. But yeah, we're going to be talking about Darren Waller today, and the big premise of this is just draft Darren Waller. That's it. That's the video. That's all I got to say. But no, for real, Darren Waller, man, elite tight end, one of the elite tight ends, one of those big three, him, Kelsey, Kittle. But before we get into the specifics on Darren Waller, real quick, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Help the channel grow, help me, help my boy back here, help us reach our goal of 100 subscribers on YouTube by the end of the fantasy football season. I would really appreciate it. Come join La Familia. I would really appreciate that. But let's get right into the main event. Let's get into the meat and potatoes that is Mr. Darren Waller of the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, like I mentioned, Darren Waller, of course, is one of those big three tight ends, one of those elite tight ends, him, Kelsey, Kittle. And the reason why Darren Waller is my favorite tight end out of those three to draft is this. For one, you don't got to spend that same first-round draft capital that you do on the same first-round draft capital as you do to get Travis Kelce. Also, with George Kittle, he does have the injury history, and then we have the quarterback situation where you have Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo, who's going to be the starter, Brandon Ayuk coming into his second year. You got Deebo Samuel, hopefully back and healthy. There's too many question marks there for me. And with Darren Waller, he should provide you with like a safe, consistent floor, the type of guy you can kind of just set it and forget it with your lineup week in and week out. You don't have to worry about spending your waiver priority or your fab, whatever you use on a tight end like you do when you are streaming the position. And if you're like me, like I was last year with Darren Waller, hopefully he will be leading you to so many dubs that you don't even have to fucking worry about it. You could just leave him in your lineup on his bye week because he's just carrying your team. But anyways, Darren Waller, over the past two seasons, in 2019, had 117 targets, 90 catches, 1,145 yards, and 3 touchdowns, a 76.9% catch rate, 9.8 yards per target, and a 22% target share. Then, last season, 2020, we see him take a step forward in terms of volume, 145 targets, 107 catches, 1,196 yards, and 9 touchdowns. A 73.8% catch rate, 8.2 yards per target, and a 26% target share. Now, Darren Waller came out of nowhere. He came out of the fucking woodworks in 2019, and it was great to see, man, because it's a very inspiring story. He was dealing with a lot of off-the-field issues, but then he hopped back into relevance. He bursted through the door like the Kool-Aid man in terms of relevance and made himself one of the top tight ends in all of football. And then last season, he was being drafted in the middle rounds because a lot of people thought it was kind of like a flash in the pan, that Waller wasn't going to be able to repeat what he did, repeat his efficiency, repeat how involved he was in the offense, especially with Ruggs there, with them bringing in Aguilar, drafting Bryan Edwards, Hunter Renfrow, whatever you might want to look at, Josh Jacobs getting more involved in the passing game. People didn't believe in Waller, but he said, shut your ass to all the haters, and he proved everybody wrong by improving on what he did in 2019. Because Waller is so elite in terms of efficiency, that's why he was able to do that. When you get Waller the ball, he is successful. He's a good part of the offense, so they want to get him the ball more often. In terms of efficiency, he even rivals Travis Kelce in some areas, if not exceeds him in some areas as well. And he's playing with Derek Carr, not Patrick Mahomes. Now, I'm not saying that Darren Waller is better than Travis Kelce, but I am saying that I think Darren Waller is closer to Travis Kelce than he is the majority of the other tight ends in the league. Now, we did see some reports from a beat writer that Darren Waller could improve on his 2020 season. Now, this don't mean much to me coming from a beat writer, not from the coaching staff, whatever. But the reason why I felt like I should mention this is because I agree. And here's why. You have Henry Ruggs coming into his second year in the league, right? He wasn't great his rookie year. He did disappoint to a certain degree, but he did have the defense's attention to a certain degree as a deep threat. And if he can improve in year two, you have John Brown coming in, replacing Nelson Agholor. And I would personally take John Brown over Nelson Agholor 10 out of 10 times as long as John Brown is healthy. Don't forget how soon we are to forget how good John Brown was in 2019. Recency bias will make you think otherwise because last season he was injured. You got Bryan Edwards, Hunter Renfrow, hopefully one, if not both, can kind of take a step forward. You got Kenyon Drake there as well, who should help out in the run game as a capable 1B, 1-2 punch with Josh Jacobs, who is also capable as a receiver out of the backfield. Now, you might be thinking having this improved group of weapons for the Raiders wouldn't be good for Waller because then in turn his targets may go down. And while that might be true, the reason why this is good for Waller is because when you have those extra weapons, you have a better group of guys around you, a more productive group of guys around you. Defenses aren't going to be able to hone in on Darren Waller, and he will be able to hopefully return to form or at least close to it of what he was in 2019 in terms of efficiency. So even if the targets aren't there as much, well, I don't expect a huge dip in target share. There probably will be some sort of a dip there. I do think that with the efficiency, that will more than make up for what he loses in terms of targets. Now, excuse me, just got a text message. Let me put that on vibrate, my friends. Got the phone machine down here. But anyways, when you look at the Raiders, right, what I have them projected for, 587 pass attempts, 480 rush attempts this season. Now, even if Darren Waller sees a dip across the board, target share, and all of his efficiency metrics, he's still at worst, at his floor, not even his floor, at his basement, he's still going to be a step above most other tight ends you will be drafting this season. And I don't think that will be the case, like I mentioned, with the improved group of weapons around him. Over the past couple of seasons, Waller's been at 24.5% target share on average, 75.4% catch rate, 9 yards per target, and a 4.6% touchdown rate. Now, let's just assume that he drops from a 26% target share all the way down to 21%, and we see a 10% decrease based on his averages across the board in terms of efficiency metrics. We go from a 24.5% target share to 21%. We go down from 75.4% catch rate to 67.9% catch rate. We go down from 9 yards per target to 8.1 yards per target and a 4.6% touchdown rate to a 4.14% target rate. If you take all that, right, 587 attempts, a 21% target share is going to be 123 targets. 123 targets at a 67.9% catch rate is 84 catches, 123 targets. 8.1 yards per target is 996 yards. And then you go ahead and take that 4.14% touchdown rate. That is going to be 5 touchdowns. Now let's slap this shit together and smack it all the way down to the basement, right? Let's throw it down the basement stairs because this is the basement for Waller. This is worst case scenario. 123 targets, 84 catches, 996 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Good for 171.4 half PPR points per game, 10.1 points per game, which would have been tied with Mark Andrews last season for the tight end 3.5 PPR, right? And like I said, that's kind of the floor. It's not even the floor. It's below the floor. I don't see this happening. It is within the range of outcomes, of course. And if Waller's healthy, though, I expect him to at least maintain his efficiency of last season, if not build upon that. So let's go ahead and look at a realistic outcome for Darren Waller in 2021. Let's use his averages over the past few seasons. Let's say that he regresses to the mean in terms of yards per target, in terms of catch rate, in terms of his target share, right? And we see a little dip in his touchdown rate from last season, which was 6.25%, back to those averages of 24.5%, 75.4% catch rate, 9 yards per target, and a 4.25% touchdown rate. So if you take that, right, 587 targets, of 24.5% target share in this offense, that's going to be 144 targets, and then he catches the ball at a 75.4% rate. That is going to be 109 catches, and then you take those 144 targets at 9 yards per target, that would be 1,296 yards, and then using that 4.6% touchdown rate. I'm sorry, I think I said 4.25 before. The average was 4.6%. So you take 144 targets, and a 4.6% touchdown rate. Let me make that clear. A 4.6% touchdown rate. That is going to be 7 touchdowns. Now let's go ahead and make a peanut butter and Darren Wallace sandwich, baby. Let's go ahead and do that. That's 144 targets, 109 catches, 1,296 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Good for 227.1 half PPR points, or 13.4 half PPR points per game. This would be a slight dip comparatively to last season, where he averaged just over 14 points per game, but it still would have been good for the tight end 2 overall last season. Tight end 2 in points per game last season. Now, just think about it, right? The only big difference here is that his touchdowns are going down. He's regressing to the mean in all of his other efficiency metrics. So if he can maintain that touchdown rate and he gets 10 touchdowns, all of a sudden he outdoes what he did last season for fantasy football. And I do think it's within the range of outcomes that Darren Waller overtakes Travis Kelce as the tight end 1 this season. Travis Kelce's getting up there in age. Maybe the age catches up to him. Some other guys get more involved. Whatever it may be, the touchdowns go down a little bit. The targets go down a little bit. Whatever it might be. If Travis Kelce takes a little step down, Darren Waller all of a sudden could be the tight end 1 this season. And I think that that is great value, getting a guy with that kind of upside that could improve on last season's numbers in the 3rd round where he is being drafted this season. So that's what I got for y'all today. The moral of the story is just fucking draft Darren Waller. Set it and forget it. Don't worry about it. Don't waste your waiver priority. Don't waste your fab on a tight end week in, week out. Get a guy that you know you can just set and forget. Let me know down in the comments. Do y'all agree with me? Will you be drafting Darren Waller this season? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like. Also in the comments, make sure to leave me ideas, things you want to hear in the future videos, people you want me to talk about, whatever it may be. And as always, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Help me and help my boy, help us, help the channel, the group, the familia, hit our goal of 100 subscribers on YouTube by the end of the fantasy football season. I would really, really appreciate it, y'all. But that's all I got. That's it. That's it. That's all there is. I really hope you enjoyed the video. I'm out. I'm done for today. I'll catch y'all next time. And as always, thank you. Love you. Peace.